All right, hey, what's going on, Freedomers? I mean, Missioners. Sorry. So, over the past couple days, um, I've come to this realization, right, about feeling worthy. I, uh, Neville Goddard says something. I didn't really hear his explanation on worthiness. He just said to really imagine, what you truly desire because it is all yours to claim. And one thing that the Bible says that I'm going to really live by is what Solomon said. He said, if in all you get understanding. And the reason why that's so important when it comes to worthiness is because when you truly understand something, you don't have to be worthy of having it. Let me say that again. When you truly understand something, meaning you don't just think, it's not just an intellectual, it's not just intellectual, it's not just emotional, meaning you're doing it whether you feel like it or not. It's not just spiritual, like, or philosophical, where it's just it's a subjective opinion or a sort of hiatus, but it's something you truly understand. And I had to ask myself, like, for instance, I do internet marketing, right? And you have to, like, I'm asking myself questions, and I say, based on your results, like with objective opinion, how well do you really know marketing based on your results? Based on your results, how well do you know marketing? And your results give you a objective opinion. Your results give you an objective opinion about what is and what is not. And I got that from Bob Proctor, where he's like, yo, you cannot defeat, 12:22. Okay, you cannot defeat results. They speak the loudest about you. And that's something that I have to accept in my life, that results speak loudly of, how you doing? Results speak loudly of everything that you are, not how you feel about it. Like, for instance, let me give you an example, right? Sometimes what I say to my students is, sometimes, like, let's say in Venus, right? Because let's say you love like a Pisces. So I love like a Pisces, right? Because my Venus is in Pisces. Sometimes you have to go to the opposite spectrums thinking to truly understand what is going on in your world. Because sometimes you're so lost in the negative side of your existence that if you got the outside perspective, like the opposite perspective, because usually the opposite perspective is the outside perspective. Let me repeat that again. Sometimes the opposite perspective is the outside perspective. So when you go to the opposite side, the opposite train of thought, what would they think in their highest self of what you're doing? So I said, and she was talking about her ex-lover, her baby father. And she said she really wants to be with her baby father. And I was like, and we was discussing if he really loves her. And I said, if you go to, and she, when I flipped the script, she immediately knew the answer was no. When I said to her, if we were to go to because she's a Pisces sun, right? So if I were to go to a Virgo's perspective, and I said, does he really love? Because my mother's a Virgo. But if I said, if we go to the opposite perspective, Virgo, in their highest self, and we ask a whole bunch of questions, does he really love you? Based on how he treats you, does he really love you? Based on these or all these questions that I asked, because Virgo is an analyzer. So if they start analyzing what love is, would that person's expression to you be love? And she immediately said no. So if you know that to be the truth, then you're in an illusion of love, right? So with this concept of worthiness, I think it's a very Western idea. I don't think I've had to understand, like, for instance, if you know how to get ripped, you don't have to feel worthy of it. It's just something you have to understand and tap into and get into. Because when you truly understand something, it is, I think it is only spheres of influence who tell you you're not worthy of something, or you shouldn't have such and such and such and such and such and such. Because I've rendered, so let's say my dad said something, your success won't mean anything without your family. And he was saying that not from a high perspective, but from a low perspective. Like, in other words, without us and our approval, your success won't mean anything. And I don't believe that to be true, because I gotta be successful for me, not for them. And it ain't even about like recognition and status, but it's about getting what I want for me and my goals. Because I've come to the realization over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that nobody's gonna achieve my goals but me. No one's gonna help me achieve my goals. No one's gonna help me make it a reality, especially if it's never been done before. Like, one of the things I'm gonna post as well is, if your dreams has never been manifested in your has never been done by your family before, I would even say don't expect them to help you. I would even say it's kind of a waste of time. It's a waste of time to ask for help from your family and they've never done what you've done before. So let's make it simple. Like, for me, nobody in my family makes money on the internet but me. No one on the internet makes money on the internet but me. But going back to the topic of worthiness, what I've learned about internet marketing is that, especially pursuing my journey as a marketer, I had to understand, like, me becoming a success online has nothing to do with worthiness. It has everything to do with understanding. It's because if I wait for me to feel worthy, it doesn't really happen. Because when you have a deep understanding of something, like, for instance, I'm naturally deep as far as philosophy is concerned. But if I deeply understand and I live my personal development, I don't need to feel worthy of it because I live it. So if somebody even comes against my philosophy or my belief, it wouldn't matter to me, because I say, yo, this shit works. So let's say I just got these mala beads, right? So if I started, or prayer beads, because I do a whole lot of chanting, which is just really verbal prayer, in another language. So they do the same thing. They do the same thing in Christianity. When you're speaking in tongues is chanting. Um, so as I use these prayer beads, right? Because I pray quite a bit. Um, I can't argue with somebody. No, I don't need nobody. Like, for instance, if somebody came to me and said, like, for instance, if somebody recently, let's say, who met me in Atlanta, or even from my past, said, "Well, you wearing those? What is that? What are you wearing that for?" And I was able to thoroughly, and they were trying to attack my character, right, for wearing these mala beads. And let's say I thoroughly researched and understood what they were about, and you can't make me feel unworthy or bad about wearing these mala beads, because I can deeply explain to you what they are and how they've helped my life. And whether you agree with me or not is none of my business, because you get to the understanding where you don't, where you, again, like the Bible says, like Solomon says, if in all you get understanding. Because once you have an understanding that these beads work, do the enchantment of your own energy and your own chi and your own aura, right? And I'm gonna program them very heavily in the next 15 days, right? I don't need your approval. If anything in the world, I probably keep it sacred, like keeping it in the box and staging it down. And like I could feel the energy from the Maldives, me programming it today, right? I could feel the aura around my body strengthening due to the chanting that I do with it, right? So I don't need your approval if I truly understand what these are. I don't need your approval if I do magic and it works. I don't need you to make me feel like I'm worthy of receiving it if I truly understand. I think when people say I'm not worthy of something, it's because they lack understanding. Like if you say you are unworthy of being loved by somebody, it's because you probably don't really understand what love really is, whether it be from yourself or other. So if you go into the opposite perspective and you question if they love you, you don't really, you got like abstract ideas and thoughts and feelings about love, right? So when you have these abstract ideas and thoughts and feelings and emotions that are not concrete, because there's nothing wrong with abstract, but abstract without a level of concrete foundational understanding is what it is. Abstract. It's a I don't want to say scattered, but like I don't want to say mystical. That's what I could come up with, like mystical, like imaginatory understanding. It's due to interpretation. You feel what I'm saying? It's not really no logic behind. Like, for instance, one of my favorite people to talk to right now is Gemini. Like I love talking to Geminis. When a Gemini is grounded, yo, they make so much sense, even if I don't agree with them. I don't always agree with what they be saying, but I understand. And I'm like, and I could see why they think what they think. And you know what bothers me right now when I'm talking to, especially with women, a very emotional talking woman. Like, in other words, her logic is very emotional, and based on, again, her understanding or her emotional IQ, that's where she talks to you from. So if she talks to you, like if she talks down to you and she's very emotional, it's because her EQ is very low. And like, for instance, women who feel, or even men as well, who feel it's okay to disrespect men with their tongue, usually they have very low emotional EQ. Because if women, especially women, knew how powerful their tongue was, and just people in general, but especially when women are talking to men, you would be very mindful of what you say. And you could testify that from a mother to a son. Like a son almost becomes unstoppable if he were to listen to let's say strong positive affirmations of his mother. It's kind of impossible to stop a man who's and now of course he needs balance of his father, but like a man who is really affirmed by his mother that's a strong-minded man. You hear me? Because one of the quickest ways, and I think Iyanla Vanzant taught me that one. The quickest ways to break down a man is send him a woman to destroy his mind. That you wanna get fucked up for real? Get you a woman who talk down to you. A fathers too, but my father, for instance, my father. When I started to develop my own logic, we could go back and forth. My mother, on the other hand, it was no logical conversation most times. It was always a prideful, emotional conversation. And it was more about whose pride wins in this moment, not necessarily who makes a lot of sense. So when it comes to worthiness, you don't have to feel worthy. You have to understand. And that means you have to get around better people. That means that here are the 5 tools to work to understanding. They're your relationships, the books you read, the books or audios you listen to, the environment you're around, the mentors you have, and how you act and how you think. So those are the 5 things to feeling more worthy. Because again, when you truly understand, you don't need to be worthy. And that's what Neville Goddard was alluding to with imagination. When you know your imagination brings things into reality, you don't need to feel worthy to have it. It's just about training your mind to get what you want. And it's a very challenging discipline because society does not train us to do that. Society right now is trying to make us do the inverse and let us be the devils of our own reality. But that's no here nor there right now. But what I would say is damn, I wish I remembered the code to the door. What I would say is learn more, study more, isolate yourself more, read more. Because again, it's like, and when you start getting results based on this understanding, it's not even about worthiness no more. It's just that I took the time to really understand what it was I was going about. And when I really took the time out to understand how money works, it was easier for me to attract more money because I actually understood how it works. It was easier for me to make more money or save more money when I understood what savings was about, or why I save, or whatever. You feel me? But when you don't understand, you have to seek this like emotional, I feel worthy. And I had to understand nobody's gonna make you, like, for instance, if you want to make more money, nobody's gonna come out and make you feel worthy of that, especially when you have no mentors. And you know why I had to get this concept, because I don't really have people who are gonna come validate me. You're worthy of getting paid more. You deserve more money. It was more based on understanding. It was really based on understanding and research. You feel what I'm saying? So, and not like how worthy I feel of the money. You feel me? So that's what I would say to you. Like, I would even say forget the concept of worthiness. Now, the concept of worth, that I would not forget. But the concept of worthiness, because when you become somebody because you studied X, Y, and Z, then you have a certain worth to you that that you have to, I would even be bold enough to say, you have to fight for. So yeah, so that's my concept on worthiness. And Neville Goddard. It'll be on my YouTube channel and my Instagram TV. Subscribe. Peace.